In this video, we're going to be breaking down what I was actually doing to build $60,000 months. I've talked about me making $67,000 in one particular month and how I've built $50,000 and $60,000 months and how I went back to zero, but I've never broken down what I was actually doing as far as the type of business it was, how we priced the business, what we were doing in order to get people inside of the business, how it got started, the downfall, and all of that good stuff. So in this video, we're going to be unpacking a lot of this stuff. And I wanted to make this video specifically because the first time that I did that in one particular month, I'm going to be honest with you, I was a little bit lucky. And I was only lucky because I didn't know what I was doing that was working. And that was one of my biggest downfalls. I didn't know what to focus on once I figured out what worked. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down what I actually had to go through in order for me to be able to figure out not only how to get back to the $50,000 months, but how to stay there once I actually do it again. So the type of business that this was an online coaching business. And at the time, I didn't even know that that's what I was actually doing, but I was doing what I felt was right. I was a college student at the time. I actually started this business, like I had 6 credits left. And I left school with 6 credits left to go all in on this business because I felt like this was what my dream was. Like I literally had a calling from God. God had set me down and I remember the conversation that I had. It was one night where I was just sitting and I was like, God, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I'm supposed to graduate in 4 months, but I don't necessarily know exactly what I want to do after school. And this was a conversation that had been popping up for 2 to 3 years, probably before I actually made a decision to actually go all in. But fast forwarding or going back to, the senior year when I decided to go all in, the type of business that I had got started at the time, I was just helping people learn how to trade. And it was something that had became a popular thing on campus. So, the people on campus were coming to me for insight. And I was so good at being able to not only help them be able to understand it, but I was focused on getting them results, which was something that was a skill at the time that I didn't necessarily know was a skill. So as far as how I was able to grow that business to $60,000 a month, we were charging people $250 to get started, and it was $150 a month to stay a part of the particular business. So when I first got started in this business, this literally started out by me just doing something that I was good at. Like I would go and I wanted to learn how to master the markets. And I understood that if I wanted to become a master of something, and I needed to be able to teach it to other people that can also be able to learn it and become masters at it as well. So my entire thing was I just started saying, hey, y'all meet me in the library and I'm going to start teaching people. So much to the fact to where it was like, eventually I stopped running out of time to be able to sit down and help every single person. So I had to figure out a way to where I can be able to do this one to many. So when I made the decision to go all in and pursue this business, I only had about 40 to 50 people I was doing this for free at the time. Like I had 40 to 50 people that I was helping on a day-to-day basis. And I remember sitting in class and I felt this big pull. Like I just kept being pulled back and forth. It was like, hey man, like you're in school right now doing something that you're not passionate about. You don't know what it's going to lead to. You're just doing it because you feel like it was the right thing to do. On the other end, it's like you have a business already. You have people that love and trust you. They are depending on you. And and it was just something that was like, hey man, like just ask these people, like, would they pay for something that I'm offering them? Like if I were to help y'all, if I wanted to start my own business and go out here and make this thing something real, would you guys be people that would actually pay to continue to learn from us? The answer was yes. I remember the first 2 people that literally said yes to me and they sent me their money on Cash App. I was in Orlando at the time. I was with my business owners my business partners at the particular time. And I remember just sitting here saying, hey man, we just got to take the leap of faith. We took the leap of faith. We called up the first 2 people that had been getting the most results from us. And we were just like, hey man, would this be something that you guys would want to like pay for if we were to go full time and go all in this? And they said, hell yeah. Like, and when they gave me that enthusiasm, I looked at my business partner and was like, wow, this is something that we actually have. They sent $150 on Cash App at the time. I made my first $50,000 on Cash App. I didn't have any business. I didn't have any website. Like the website for when people paid, they literally got invited into a Facebook group. And on the Facebook group, all we would do is we would point them in direction to where we had education courses, or it was a course, but it was just really videos of us sitting here breaking down something that we had learned and figured out. And then we had a process to be able to take them through to get them to the point of understanding, hey, I can be able to get you from not knowing anything about trading to taking you to becoming somebody that is confident enough to put in your first trade and make your first dollar within 28 to 48 hours. That was the overall goal. Now, looking back at that, we had such a great business model only because we were able to get people results fast, and we had people paying us continuity, like on a month to month basis. So it was like the value that they can be able to see was bar none. Like when people came in, they were not leaving. So that was what was able to get me to the $60,000 months. The peak in which I had made $67,000 in one particular month, we had made that because we had a roughly about 400 people in the business that were paying $150 per month. And again, it was $250 to be able to get started. So that was equaling up, like, and all of this stuff happened fast. Now, I didn't get immediately to the $50,000 months, like right after I left school, but within my first month, I was making $10,000 a month on Cash App. Didn't have an LLC yet, didn't have any type of mentorship or education on how to run a business. I was just a person that was enthusiastic, and I had a skill, and I figured out how to package that skill into a way where people could be able to say yes to it. And the people wanted to say yes to it because they saw us being able to get results. So that was how I was able to actually get to the $60,000 per month. Now I'm going to actually talk to you guys about how we were able to get people inside of the business from the get-go. So this was a business that was all word of mouth marketing. Like, we weren't running ads. At the time, TikTok wasn't even a thing. Like, there was Snapchat and there was Instagram, but the only thing that we were using at the time was stories. And I would just get on stories and I would just pretty much say, hey man, y'all are missing out. Like, if y'all like, and obviously it was good because of I was in a college campus. I was around a lot of I had a great community. Like, there was a starving crowd. The starving crowd was, hey, there's a lot of young people that want to be able to know how to make money. We're all broke college students right now, and we're actually making money. So if we're actually able to make money, I remember making $1,000 in a day, like sitting in class. And that was the leverage that I used to be able to get people to want to get started, because it was like, hey, I'm just like you. But while I'm sitting here in this class and I'm sitting here being lectured, I just made $1,000 within 15 minutes from me being able to press a button. So it's like there was a no-brainer as far as the offer behind it. But at the particular time, we didn't necessarily know what we were doing. We were just showing up and we were doing what we felt was right. But how we were actually able to get people to get started, again, it was all word of mouth marketing. So it started with me and my business owner at the time, my business partner. He had an audience. I had an audience. We brought our audience together and we literally we went and we tag teamed it. Now, I will say it is a lot easier for you to build a business if you have somebody on your team. Now, getting started, I don't feel like that is something that is needed. And I'm only saying that because a lot of people feel like they have to have all of this stuff in order for them to get started. You have what it takes to be able to get started. Like I said, when we were getting attention the first time, it was all word of mouth marketing. What would happen is it was a triangle. We called it the triangle of trust. It would be the person that is already inside of the business, me or my co-founder, and we would talk to the person that is interested in getting in the business. We would sit down, the person would edify me, they would edify them. I would have a conversation with them. This was something that I learned from knowing how to be able to do network marketing and having a past in multi-level marketing. So we were growing that business like a multi-level marketing business at the particular time. And that was the reason why it grew, but it was also the reason why it fell off. And I'll get to that a little bit later once I start talking about, the downfall and what actually happened. But I want to continue to talk to you guys about how we were able to actually get from zero to the $10,000 a month to the $25,000 and so on and so forth. So again, this is January of 2020 when I made the decision, hey, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to make this business on my own. And what was one of the best things that ever happened was 2 months later. Yeah, it was the end of March, the beginning of April. And I remember it because we were supposed to be going on a a traveling event with the people that were inside of the business. We were supposed to be going to Miami and our trip got canceled because the world shut down. COVID happened. So at that time, we were roughly around 100 to 125 people, and they were all paying us subscription. Like they were paying $150 per month. So that's how we were able to get to the threshold of making $10,000 plus. Now, as far as being able to get above and beyond that, one of the best things happened to us, and we didn't even know it was happening right before our eyes. When the world shut down and everything stopped, what happened was now everybody's sitting inside of the house. You can't go outside to be able to make money. But that doesn't change the fact that people still have bills. So the problem went from just a college campus to now everybody in the world is in the same exact boat. We're sitting in one house, like people are getting laid off. They need to be able to learn some type of skill. And I think that COVID-19 was the best thing to be able to happen to us. That is my personal opinion. But I feel like it made people actually sit here and start using their brains and want to start thinking. Instead of just being told what to do, we started to be able to think for ourselves. And that was the spark that was able to get us we went from 125 people to like 300 within a matter of weeks. And I'm talking about like we started in Greensboro, North Carolina, but I was in Arizona, I was in California. We were overseas. We had people in North America, South America, and multiple different continents. Like it had just grew because we were doing what? We had a lot of great enthusiasm. We were able to get people results. And that's the only thing that mattered. Now, I'm being young. I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. So I'm just showing up and I'm doing what felt right. And a lot of that stuff was just ego because I felt like, hey, I'm looking at myself and I'm seeing that I'm different from the people that I'm around. So I'm going to talk about me being different because it's like, wow, nobody else wants to do this, but I'm showing y'all how easy it is. And y'all don't want to listen to me. Like, why are you not listening? Like, it made me feel like I was crazy at the time, but I was just a person that was just extremely ambitious. I had a vision and my goal was to make sure that every single person, I wanted 2 people in every single household to be able to know how to mark up a chart and execute and make money. And that was in the entire world. That was our mentality. We were going to go out here and we were going to make sure that everybody knew how to be able to trade. So that was how we were able to get from, making no money at all to making our first dollars on Cash App. People coming in, paying us on Cash App, coming in and to a Facebook group. And we just sitting down with them live on Zoom calls, making them like confident and being able to know how to mark their chart up and be able to execute efficiently and being able to get results. That is exactly what was able to get us beyond the threshold of $10,000 and up to $50,000 and beyond. Now, this is the downfall. This is the bad part. This is what everybody waits for because everybody wants to know, well, how can you be able to get to that type of money and you just lose that type of money? I'm about to tell you exactly why. We didn't know what we didn't know at the time. And I'm going to be honest, like a lot of that stuff at the time was luck, only because we didn't know how to be able to keep this as a repeatable business and be able to scale it above and beyond. So when it came time for, eventually this was running on for about 2 years, about roughly. So it ended in 2023. So about 3 years roughly, where we were just running the business and we had to stop the business because eventually like we could not continue to reach more people. And that was one of the biggest problems. Remember, I told you guys like everything was word of mouth marketing. So if it wasn't like once everybody that was inside of the business had ran out of the target audience and now everybody is becoming familiar with trading. Like it's no longer a secret to be able to know how to trade. So it's like now everybody is learning how to be able to do it themselves. They don't want mentorship. Like they feel like, oh, well, I don't need to pay. And it's like, we ran ourselves thin. Like we ran ourselves thin as far as us being able to get to our target audience and being able to grow further. And I remember at the time, and I didn't really understand this until being able to look back. But at the time, one of my partners literally asked me, she was like, why are you guys not running ads to your business? And I literally told her, like, that's not the pricing model. Like, we can't do that. Like, this isn't the type of business. We can't go out here and run ads and tell people, hey, we can show you how to make $1,000 in a day because of the way that people go through and talk about ads. It's like, we weren't a get rich quick scheme. We were teaching people a skill that if you learn that skill would pay you for the rest of your life. Like once you learned it, nobody can be able to take it from you. but it wasn't a scam. So it's like at the time, I just felt like we weren't able to like communicate with people well enough what we did in a way that can be able to grow our audience outside of just organic and word of mouth. So that was the downfall. Because we couldn't continue to grow the audience, we couldn't get paid attention on our particular offer. Then it was like, hey, then we can't necessarily continue to run the business. On top of that, the business went from having 400 people to only having a roughly 120, 150 people. And it's like, although some of those people were still paying clients, we had created bills inside of the business to where it's like, now this business is not as profitable as it was before. So what do we have to do? We just had to sit there and we had to make a business decision. Like, a lot of people don't start businesses because they're scared of failing, but failing is a part of business. At the time, it just felt like the right thing to do because it's like, hey man, this is a fire. We need to go ahead and just let this fire go ahead and release. And it's like, okay, we'll go on and we'll learn what to do in the next thing. So that was pretty much the rise and the downfall for that particular business. The reason why the business stopped is because we didn't have repeatable systems in place that we can be able to use in order to get us in front of more people and keep us in front of more people. So once we ran through that pool, like at the peak, that's why I didn't get to the $100,000 months. We only got to 67,000 in that one particular month, because at its peak, yes, we had roughly 400 people inside of the business, but that was the start, like that was the top. Everything from there went downhill. And now people are learning, how to be able to do this for themselves. Times are changing. And a part of business nobody teaches you about is being able to stay afloat with the trends, not following the trends, but being able to stay afloat and changing your business as you go in order to be able to not only keep a consistent paying business, but a consistent profitable business. So the one thing that I know now that would have been able to keep that business afloat is, hey man, like for one, the pricing model inside of the business. I enjoyed being able to have people pay us on continuity, but as far as the skill, I would have focused on quality over quantity. So charging more, and a lot of people are actually scared to charge more. But when you have a skill that is valuable, or you have value that people can be able to learn something from or get a payoff from or get some type of transformation, you have to stop trying to price it based off of what you think the market will be able to pay. And that was what we were doing at the time. We were trying to be the cheapest people out there so that people could feel like they could afford it. And that was what was one of our downfalls. It was our pricing model. Another thing is I would have been creating organic content and running some type of ads, even though I felt like it could not have been done. I would have ran ads and just talked about the results that people were getting. Instead of talking about, hey, you can come in and you can learn how to make $1,000 in a day in 24 hours. Like that was the mentality then. But going through and learning so much about business now, we would have just ran ads talking about the testimonials, and that would have made people continue to like and trust us, because that's how we grew to 400 people in the first place. Another thing that I would have done differently is focused on systems. So attention offers and systems is something that I always go back to, because like I realized that is literally the foundation for every single business. You made it to this part of this video and you liked it, make sure that you subscribe and share this with somebody else that it can also be able to help, and pay close attention. Turn your notifications on, because in the next video, I'm going to be breaking down how you can also be able to turn your skills that you have right now into a high paying $10,000 offer, a $1,000 offer, being able to turn it into a $10,000 per month business. Because when I first got started in that business, I didn't have anything special. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a logo. I didn't have an offer yet. I didn't have any of those things. The only thing that I had was skills, and I figured out a way to be able to package it in a way that made people say yes. So I'm going to be helping you guys do the same exact things over these next couple of videos, and I don't want you to miss out. So until next time, peace and love.